you're gonna get free this time. Falling into a blue sky mind. Came to me in that song, my friend.
Hey y'all, Deb Air here, creator of You, Me, and Elephant. Welcome to our first episode, our official episode. This actually was a conversation that Crystal and I had, just kind of going right into speaking about pain. We didn't really have the structure as much as maybe our later episodes, but we figured we would just share it with you anyway, because part of this podcast really is just allowing for the space between to reveal some interesting qualities of life for us and hopefully inspirations. So this particular episode is Crystal and I speaking about pain and some of those things that are less revered in how we generally communicate or connect with pain within us, whether it be physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. So we hope you enjoy this little ride and conversation, and know that we have many more episodes ready to go for you. And we're beginning to invite others on this podcast as well. So eventually you're going to hear other voices beyond Crystal and I. Enjoy, and until next time, see you soon. Well, it's like, geez, I mean, just everything that we've just been talking about in the last few days, but just how pain is sort of like synonymous sometimes, because it's the very thing that by nature we are indoctrinated to avoid.
Yes.
Because I feel that one of the things that works in patriarchal capitalistic culture is that if we're less connected and in charge of ourselves, which means that we don't go into our pain and get the gem nugget in it.
That's right.
That we can empower ourselves, that we can become more connected, we can become more whole, then it's like we're much easier, we're more pliable to whatever story we're being told, right? Like, this thing is going to save me, this medication, this surgery, this treatment, this therapy. And it's not to say that doing things and having a team of people around you that support you isn't a great thing, but it's really this investigation of what is in the pain. If we were to just have a conversation with pain, and I'm sitting across the table with pain, what would pain tell me?
Such a good question.
And I know, if I may, we've both been experiencing different aspects of pain, right? And usually in our culture, it's, you have pain. Oh, what's wrong? Let me fix it. Let me help you. Let me get you out of the pain, basically.
That's right.
And even when we're trying to help, right? We're being a friend. It's like, you were just saying this, and I know this in myself, and it's been something that I've really had to tease apart and grow through, is that urge to try to help and save somebody when they're feeling pain. And I just had this conversation with somebody tableside this week, and I said I used to feel that way. And I remember being at these retreats and being told, like, hey, if somebody is having a moment where they're actually experiencing their pain, or experiencing a release of that pain, or a processing, a resolution of that pain, or they're in it, don't go and interrupt it and hug them and be like, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. A lot of times it's like, when I feel your pain, that's also, I can be with your pain only as deeply as I can be with my own.
That's so true. And what has also been super revealing for me, being in my pain point deeply for the past 4 days, has been beyond revealing to me how far I let myself go into those deeper grooves. and what my strategy is when I witness other people go there. And so,
Mm.
what's been such a gift is when you can call upon the person and be witnessed by the person who has that strategy and who has that experience. They're going to guide you to a place that you may not be able to guide yourself alone. And that to me was a huge game changer for this particular experience, where I could have retreated like society says do, like go and just bury yourself in the covers. You're in pain, take painkillers, like sleep it off, walk it off, go to the doctor, get your diagnosis, make sure they say you are okay. When really, I just needed someone to hold this sacred space and say, I see what's happening. This is an important moment. What's happening for you is actually this sacred moment. And if I didn't have someone doing that for me, I think it would have been harder. I think I would have gone to another place and not have gained the amount of gems that I've gained from letting this particular elephant reveal itself to me.
We need each other to say, I remember all of who you are in this
Mm,
moment of discomfort. I've been hearing this. I don't know if it originally came from Aristotle, but there's many different people who kind of create their own quotes around like being an acorn. Like we're all an acorn, right? And the acorn becomes an oak tree. It doesn't
hmm
have to do anything. It has everything within the acorn to
mm,
become the oak tree. And this Sonia Renee Taylor, this woman I was listening to, phenomenal human being, if you have not listened to her, talks about just about how much from the second we came into the world, we're immersed in a certain coding of story, right? We're
mm,
like, it's like this immersion of, I don't even want to say brainwashing, but it's an immersion of way of living that says this
yeah,
is you. You're actually this thing. You're not this acorn that has everything. So we begin to believe that, right? So we begin to even believe that in this case, like if we are feeling discomfort, which really is the soul saying, hey, like I need you to come home. Like I need
absolutely.
you to become more into wholeness because you're becoming so out of alignment that you're not in the environment. You're becoming, which Sonia Renee Taylor was saying this, you're becoming a parking lot instead of that fucking acorn.
Mm,
And that pain is there to literally get in our face and say, hey, to your point, having souls around you that are in your team, in your soul team, because in being on that same soul team, which I feel so grateful to have you in that, so grateful, because it's a resonance that goes like, I'm going to remember you when you want to flee. I'm going to remember you when it's hard for you to remember you.
absolutely. It is
And
key. When you said the remembering, that struck that tone that was so resonant, so true. It's like the universal sound was that
yeah,
remembering was really powerful to hear.
yeah. And we were talking the other day just about, we've been in the healing field and personal growth work long enough to know that it's not a new concept for those in this field to say, yes, your pain is a gift. Your pain tells you to stop and notice that there's something out of alignment and to do something different. But the journey and the living into that is what we were talking about the other day. Is, I don't even know if that was just yesterday. Timelessness is a very experienced real thing. Is that that's at least the mental concept, that's the concept of it, right? Like pain tells us this thing, but the living into it of like being with the pain that is here on your doorstep to say, hey, I need you to remember who you are. And if you want to continue down this path, whatever that is, but then that immersion, that indoctrination, we're like, oh, okay, I need to keep going. So I need a solution right away. So
Mm,
what we really do is we're actually not taking the time to sit down across from pain and really know that pain in there is just fragments of ourselves we've left behind
absolutely.
that are saying, remember me.
Yeah.
I am part of you, and I'm actually part of the whole that makes you the oak tree.
You know, when you said it was something about like delivering, and my mind immediately went, what if this pain could be perceived as if it is an Amazon package being
Mhm.
delivered on your doorstep. And this
Mm,
pain is like, okay, this gift is for you right now.
mm,
And unpackaging that and putting that on, wearing that outfit or whatever it is, and like truly being with that, what would that look like, not only for you to wear it and to be with it, but then also to ask for the support, ask people around you, okay, like I'm going into my pain, I need water, I need a blanket, I need you to walk the dogs, I need you to do these things, I don't know how long it's going to take me, but I'm going there, I just got this package or I just got this gift. And there should, like, what if we could look at it like that? What if
mhm.
we receive the pain versus going, sorry, I would like to return that, please.
You're like, and then the universe is like, oh, I'm sorry, no returnables on this.
Exactly. We're like, damn
You
it.
can take the organ out. It's just going to pop out somewhere
That's
else.
right. Yeah, like, but that is an interesting thought. Where would we be if we would allow ourselves to go there more and more frequently and receive it in this different way? And I'm not saying by no means, and I don't think anyone listening would think that we are, not that we're saying, it's not that you cut your finger off and say, oh, just receive the pain. This is not what we're talking about. It's like to
Well,
receive.
and I'll push into that a little bit to say, yeah, do we cut our finger off because we are disconnected and not paying attention to what we're
Mm,
cutting, that the universe is like, pay the freak attention, right? So it
totally.
doesn't mean that you don't use a tool and go to the hospital and try to get that sewn back on, but that's not the whole picture.
That's right.
Who
No,
were you
very true.
being when you accidentally cut your finger off? You
Absolutely.
know?
No, that is a very good point.
And
Absolutely.
I mean, really, pain is just a form of love. It's
Mm,
it's saying, I love you, I miss you. And pain can be physical, emotional, mental, spiritual.
yeah.
And we were talking a moment ago before we were recording how you've seen me come to you in all these different ranges. And I do have to be mindful, or I choose to be mindful who I share that with, because of our indoctrination, because of who I am in the world, because I hold a safe place for so many. Does that knock me out of their safety realm if I just say, hey, I am going through this. This is the truth. There's some dark parts in here. And oh my God, this just like, I just had this amazing conversation with somebody and it illuminated me so much that it hit these dark crevices that all of a sudden were the parts of the ocean that they haven't freaking discovered yet. And now I'm feeling them. Now, that may sound wacko to some people, right? That is such an important piece to be able to go. Part of my journey in every day is to just say, what is it to remember that I am that full magnificence of that acorn, which means that there's dark parts, right? Like the seed
Mm-hmm.
that like we bury the seed, right? That's the
Yeah.
acorn. We bury the seed deep in the dark crevices,
Earth.
and
Yes.
it has to
Absolutely.
crack itself open with
Yep.
all of its glory, right?
Yep.
And it becomes the bud and it becomes the tree and it becomes the flower. And so it doesn't mean, gosh, just heard somebody say, oh, it's not about that. It doesn't have to be hard. It's getting right with what kind of hard you want. If it's hard, the way that I choose the hard, as long as I'm falling, so I'm 5'3", so I'll say this, you're 6 foot, but as long as I'm falling 5'3" towards my freedom, I'm
Mm,
okay with that hard.
there you go.
And if we're doing hard for the sake of hard, because somehow, again, we've been indoctrinated that like it's got to be
That's right.
hard,
To
it's got to be
believe it has to
stressful.
be.
I don't really
Yep.
want to be in pain, but it's just really hard. And I'm now
Yeah.
addicted to the drama of hard, but it's actually not
Yeah.
bringing me forward to freedom. It's actually making me
Totally.
feel just like I belong. And what do we want to belong to? A lot of these things we want to belong to make us feel less than. We have to have
Absolutely.
a certain body look. We're trying to get rid of our wrinkles. One of my biggest pains is when I look at a picture of myself and I see either wrinkles or whatever it is, and then I literally, like, it turns my stomach. And what really turns my stomach is that bothers me. I am
Mm,
so pissed that being 55 years old, that somehow still, as much as I am on a trajectory of fierce self-love,
mm-hmm.
like, that's the fierceness, is that I cannot tell you how painful that is to go, this has been indoctrinated. It's all in my
Yeah.
cells. It's like it's pulsing through
Yeah.
every part. And I'm like, fuck that. But then I'm also in the deep pain that there is truth, that I have bought into that. And that even though I have done so much unfurling from that, that still to some degree exists.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that there's, so to come back to that's the pain theme, it's like, okay, when I am facing across the table from the pain that I'm feeling, it is bringing me back to saying, listen,
Yeah.
remember the truth beyond
Remember.
all of the stories and the culture and everything that you've been immersed in since the second, and probably before the second that you were born.
Mm. Mm.
And that becomes the sacred nugget that you were talking about. So that concludes our conversation on pain. Like I mentioned in the beginning, this was sort of just a wrapping conversation, very organic, and clearly didn't have a conclusion. So we're going to offer that up for you this particular episode, to just throw it around in your being and body and brain. Until next time, see you soon. And now, Trevor Hall with Blue Sky Mind.
Through the body, it's in and through